Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about some system changes which they implemented during the Bouncer patch. Now there are a lot of changes, so I'm only going to be covering the more important ones or the ones that will affect most players. But first of all, if you're new to the channel, I'm trying to hit 50,000 subs before the end of the year. If we manage to do that, I will shave my head bald. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. So the biggest change that has affected my gameplay is the duration of your food buffs. So when I go to cook quick food and go to create recipes, you see I have huge PP over here. So let's consume the huge PP recipe. And once that is done, we can check at stat information. You can see over here that my huge PP recipe lasts for 4 hours now instead of 2. So they have increased the duration of your food buff to last 4 hours instead of 2 hours. So they doubled the duration. Very, very nice change. That way I don't need to burn through my crisp aleo meats and all that stuff as quickly as before because it lasts twice as long. The next thing they added is more items in the item trader. So when we talk to Travis over here, go to item recycle, you're going to notice that there is the Augment item protection. Now I wouldn't recommend using it now because there aren't any augments that are super duper expensive or super crazy to get. However, in the future we will get augments as Covenant as Guardian Soul. So when you get those like really strong augments that give you like insane stats, then maybe you want to pick up a couple of these augment item protections, which prevents the consumption of material items and augment items after an augmentation failure. So let's say in the December update you have your new shiny endgame weapon and you're deciding to put like your 6 augments onto that weapon, then you might want to use one of these augment item protections if the augments cost a lot of money or are very difficult to obtain, because this will simply refund everything if it fails. So this is very nice. Now there is a catch to this obviously, and that is the cost. It'll cost you 40 target AC or SG scratch items, also known as recycle badges and SG recycle badges, okay? So make sure not to skimp out on your free SG scratch every single day, because you're gonna need all of these SG recycle badges later on, or your duplicate SG items that you get, in order to purchase these augment item protections for free. Now obviously if you are a cash user, you can just do your regular scratch and use those items to exchange it to recycle badges, but you know, that requires real money. As a free-to-play player, just use the free scratch every single day and slowly stockpile these recycle badges. So just to prove my point, I'll click augment item protection, click the bottom one because I want to exchange SG scratch items and not the AC scratch items. Then I will go to my material storage, which has expired, but I'm not going to refresh it yet. And you'll notice here that I have 52 of these SG recycle badges. I can consume 40 of them in order to get the augment item protection. Now keep in mind, this augment item protection is limited to 1 per month. As you can see over here, max 1, and limited edition items 23 days remaining until reset. So if you do have a bunch of recycle badges and you do want to prepare for the future, maybe you should be buying these every single month. That way when we get some true endgame augments, you are prepared and ready for it. Now in my previous videos I have also pointed out all of these other items which you can also get. However, personally I don't think it's worth it. Maybe the alpha reactors if you have nothing else you want, but personally I don't think it's worth it. Okay, another friendly reminder is of course the item exchange. Make sure to get your augmentation success rate plus 10% every single week. You can get 3 of them, so you exchange your golden prim swords. Don't waste the plus 20 golden prim swords. You know, you get the plus 20 golden prim swords by doing the yellow triggers. I wouldn't waste the plus 20s on these augmentation success rate plus 10%, mainly because this gives you a lot of EXP on your weapons if you do want to upgrade them, even though I know most people use the silver ones, but you know, the gold ones also give quite a lot. So I personally do not use the plus 20s in exchanging. I use them for upgrading. So you can see here that I will select 10 over here and consume, you see right here, 10 golden prim swords, and voila. Now I have an extra augmentation success rate plus 10%. It's just a nice little boost that you can do every single week. Remember, you could do 3 of them, so that requires 30 of those golden prim swords. Next up, they added more items in the item shop. So when you come to the item shop and go buy items, you're going to notice that they have a lot more weapons. So I don't think they had the katanas before. So now you can buy the katanas. You can even buy the jet boots. So you can see here the prim jet boots. So if you are a brand new character, fresh start, you can purchase these jet boots, the 1-star variant. They do cost 1,000 meseta, but I mean, you know, whatever. And you can just immediately start using the jet boots. Unfortunately, there's no soaring blades. I find it really weird because they seemed really proud that they added new weapons into the shop, but for some reason, you know, there are still quite a few weapons missing. I feel like they should have just added all of the weapons, 1-star and 2-star rarities, so that you could play whatever you want to play right off the bat, instead of forcing the player to play a certain way or use a certain weapon that they might not like and having to farm for a specific weapon that they do want to use. I find that kind of weird, but I mean, whatever, at least they added new weapons. For me, it's the katanas, but I don't need them anymore because the Braver's been out for quite some time. The next thing I want to talk about is performance. Some of you guys, myself included, when we first logged in during the bouncer patch, you may have noticed that your performance was absolutely garbage. You were like at 10 FPS, 20 FPS, and you're like, what on earth is going on? So the same thing happened to me. I logged in, I went to the combat zone, and I was like, whoa, why am I lagging? Why is my FPS so bad? So forth and so on. And so what I did was I went back into my systems, I went to options, and I checked the graphics. And for me, a lot of my graphics settings were reset back to default, so I had to turn off a lot of things. So I turned off bloom, I turned off the fog, I turned off blur, anti-aliasing, as well as shadows. Shadows was set to like 4 for me, which I've never set to 4 before, but for some reason it was set on 4 by default when I logged in for the first time after the bouncer update, and it was causing my computer to just like burn up. So I lowered it back to 2, which was my normal setting, and everything else just kind of fixed itself after I reset all of my graphics settings back to my original graphics settings. So if your game is stuttering or performing really poorly all of a sudden after this new update, make sure to check your graphics settings and change everything back to your original settings, and you should be fine. Now, last but not least, they have also added what quadrant or what area you're in on the top left corner. As you can see where my mouse is hovering, it says that I am in A6. So when you open up your map by default, you're going to notice that everything is broken up into quadrants or in grids, and you can see that I'm currently standing in A6. So what happened before, especially when you're doing gigantics, was, oh, you're fighting the boss and then you had to open up this map to see which quadrant you're in because people are asking, yo, where's the gigantics? And then, you know, it would be a hassle to open up the map and be like, yo, I'm in A6, and then close the map and continue fighting. Now you can simply just glance at the top left corner right next to your map and boom, you know what quadrant you're in. Tell everyone where you are and immediately they can come over and life is good. Those are the most significant changes which I have experienced. Let me know in the comment section below what you think is the biggest change in this update. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. Anyway, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!
What can I say except